Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. A very special welcome to today's Power Boost. So, our topic today is here today, gone tomorrow. Here today, gone tomorrow. So, unless you have been on another planet, you couldn't miss the biggest story of the moment, and that would be the passing of Pope Francis. May he rest in peace. And you need not be Christian to appreciate who he was, and especially the significance of his passing, and especially at the time that he passed. It would not be lost on anyone, even if they're not Christian, that Easter is the second largest holiday on the Christian calendar, and it has specific significance that coincided with Pope Francis's passing. And so it's very interesting that Easter Sunday, he was up and about and serving the Christian community, and by extension, all of those who may not necessarily be Catholic, but are all of the parts of the Christian branches, and those who have been and have moved on to other places. It's very significant that he left on this very special occasion. And for someone whose life has been a life of service, you could see that he served right up until the very end. On Easter Sunday, he was out and about in the Pope Mobile, meeting with the faithful in St. Peter's Square and offering his blessings. And he even made time to meet with the vice president of the US. And then on Monday, he was gone. Now, most of you would know that that weekend is significant because of the Friday prior that represents the crucifixion of Christ. And except for the United States, Easter Monday, is also a holiday. And on that particular day, all over the world, that's the day that kites are flown, commemorating the risen Christ, who, after 3 days, was able to, we might say, take flight. And of course, that's exactly the day that Pope Francis left. So there is just so much to ponder there. And this is why his service will be remembered right up until the very end. What our focus with regard to our Powerboost meditation today, however, all of the other significant things to note about his passing at this time is how he left. As I was saying earlier, just the day before, we saw him at his service mass, blessing the children, and not only those in St. Peter's Square who had gathered for the annual Easter festivities, but millions around the world. And the next day, he was no longer here. So here today, gone tomorrow, the significance that should have on us all, and if you haven't given it any thought, you ought to, because there's a final message in that as well for us all. And that is how we relate to all of the things that we possess, including our own bodies, that really don't belong to us. If it did, then of course, we wouldn't be separated from it without notice. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to remember and keep that in our awareness so that we are very present to our temporal sojourn here and our relationship with all that's here is a temporary one. And so that all the things that we possess, including our bodies, we want to have a relationship of trustee where we care for it and we use it in the best possible light, such that it is not to be used for our own validation, but we use it to appreciate and celebrate all that life affords us. And that includes our relationships as well. And so that message in our awareness, given Pope Francis's departure, is, I would say, is last and most significant, whether you are Christian or not. And so as you go about your life today, and every day. We want to have the awareness that we should seize every opportunity to make every second count, not just every day. Life is so precious and at the same time so fragile. And when we can keep that in our awareness, then every moment becomes an opportunity for us to manifest in the world all of the things that makes that significant difference. So we can all have a life of service, serving others. And of course, the beneficiary of that service primarily is you. And so you need not be the head of the Catholic Church or the head of anything to have that kind of impact. And so as you mourn his passing, whether you are Christian or not, that is a legacy that would be beneficial to you forever. A life of service till the very end. So the message for all of us is to bring to the fore all of those attributes, especially in our relationships and all our connections today and every day, such that that quality of life, that impact of love and understanding and compassion and kindness and all of the things that is represented by how you live this life and also how you leave this life. And as we go about our business today, bear that in mind and be joyful of the opportunity that you still have, because none of us know the time or the hour when our temporary sojourn here comes to a close. Every chapter, every page of the book that we are writing our own story is important, not just for those in higher office, but especially for those who can aspire to such and begin to make that significant difference that's so needed today. And so that is the thought that we wanted to have you be with today. And even as the memory of those that leave us passes, when we have the kind of example that we have just experienced, then It allows for the ordinary to be extraordinary. And you want to take that opportunity every chance that you can get, knowing that any moment could be your last. Here today, gone tomorrow. Om Shen